There's a little bit more to the story with Adam and his conversation with God. God made all of the creatures, and Adam asked God, isn't there anything else? I mean, couldn't you maybe make me a partner that would, take care of me, cook me food, do my laundry, wash the dishes, clean the car, take care of the kids, go out and work, bring me a beer, things like that. And God said, sure, I can do that. That'll cost you an arm and a leg. Adam leaned back and thought for a moment, what could I get for a rib? That didn't happen. Today is Respect Life Sunday, and the church in the United States has designated October as Respect Life Month. And each one of us here today is priceless, and everyone who has ever lived. But why? Because we are all loved from all eternity by God the Father and have been redeemed by His Son's crucifixion and death. And through the mystery of the incarnation of His life of self-giving love, leading all the way to His sacrifice on Calvary, Jesus reveals to us the inviolable dignity and value of every single human life. He calls us to the same life-giving love, to love which compels us to treasure and actively defend the life of every human being. Just one look at the headlines or TV is enough to see that our society is falling short of this ideal. One outcome of the Cultural Revolution in the 1960s was that many people began to reject the demands of authentic love and the shared moral vision of our culture. They began to put self above others, valuing freedom from commitments to others and promoting individualistic moral standards. When a me-first mentality takes root in a society, it's not long before those who have a special claim on our loving support, members of our own family, in our community, those who are vulnerable by age or health or poverty, those are the ones begin to be viewed as a burden by some. Now, foreseeing that the weakening of committed love can put innocent lives at risk, 40 years ago, the Catholic Church in the United States designated October as Respect Life Month, and this is Respect Life Sunday. And so throughout this month, we are called to, in a special way, reflect on the gift of human life, the threats against it, and how we can protect all persons from conception to natural death. And we recall the true meaning of love that always seeks the good of the other, despite personal cost. We'll see, love and life are intertwined. We see this most clearly in the family, the permanent, faithful, and life-giving love of husband and wife to which Jesus was referring in the gospel today. It is an especially fitting gospel, since the culture of life and the civilization of love are inseparable. Marriage has been called the school of love, where husband and wife learn to cherish and make sacrifices for each other, and by accepting children lovingly from God, parents are able to experience the fullness of joy and love. Now, if that phrase, accepting children lovingly from God, sounds familiar, it should. It's one of the questions that are asked at a wedding that a couple must agree to. The question lies at the heart of the sacrament of marriage. because marriage is both directed to the good of the spouses and ordered to the procreation of education and the education of children. Those children are the supreme gift of marriage and the ultimate crown. Love and life go together. The total one-flesh union of husband and wife is fruitful, never self-enclosed. It is open to the other and open to the gift of life. From the very beginning, God had a purpose in mind. He made man and woman for each other to be united as one. And at the same time, he lovingly commanded them to be fruitful and to multiply, to be partners with him in creation by bringing forth new life, cherishing it, and sustaining it. Sometimes the desire to cooperate with God in bringing forth new life may be a source of heartache. For example, married couples who are unable to conceive or give birth to children. And the church acknowledges that suffering and assures those that are infertile that infertility does not diminish the value of marriage. Blessed Pope John Paul has written, "Infertility can, in fact, become an opportunity to love and serve children through foster care, adoption, various forms of educational work, and assistance to other families and to poor or handicapped children. Each child who is created in her mother or father's arms is swaddled in love, which comes from God and is consecrated in the sacrament of marriage. This child will be a blessing all the days of her life, for through the love of her father and mother, she will know God's protective care. She will learn to walk in his ways, for her parents will teach her that God is at her side. She and her brothers and sisters will be, as the psalmist tells us, like olive plants within a fruitful household, fruitful with love. And someday she'll grow up, and she too may stand before the altar with her husband, and God will consecrate them in his love. And this great story continues until the end of time. The blessing of the psalmist will come true. May you see your children's children. All of this stems from parents' willingness to do or to be what God has called them to be. A real and visible sign of the love of Christ in his church. The domestic church, which they build of faithful love, is the only worthy sanctuary for the birth and education of a child. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is the true meaning of today's gospel, as Jesus fulfills the establishment of married love in creation with this commandment. Parents who bring their children to the baptismal font, who teach them to make the sign of the cross and to walk with them on their journey towards First Communion, are in fact obeying the Lord. Parents who lead their children to Jesus participate in the love of God, first showered on us in creation and reeled fully in the love of Christ. Parents who welcome a child welcome hope and love. That love makes us holy. It is a sacrament, first sworn before the altar and lived out in faithful and fruitful love until death. Whether married or not, whatever our vocation in life, each of us is called to respond to God's unconditional love with the gift of ourselves in service to others. Beginning today, Respect Life Sunday, and throughout the Year of Faith proclaimed by Pope Benedict, which begins the 11th, let us resolve to study and reflect on the wise and inspiring teachings of our faith on human life and the gift of married love, so that we can become modern-day apostles, capable of transforming the culture and building a civilization of life, love, and hope. And one thing that caught my attention as I was looking at these issues, the divorce rate is what now? 50%? About 50%. What if I told you that there was one thing, if couples did this one thing, the statistical divorce rate goes from 50% to 2%. Well, you might say, well, Father, is it that they pray together every day? No, that's a good thing to do. That's not it. What is it? I know. They go to Mass together every Sunday. That's it, right? No, it's a good thing to do as well. And it shows that divorce is down with people who attend Mass regularly as a family. Oh, I know, Father, I bet you it's the people that live together before they get married. Obviously, that's a good thing not to do. In other words, it is good to not live together before marriage because the benefits are there. Statistics have shown it. Divorce rate goes up, in fact, with people who live together before they get married. But the one thing that statistically has been shown that gives you a 2% divorce rate instead of a 50% divorce rate, 25 times better, is those couples that follow the church's teaching on life, on the issues of contraception. They have that 98% success rate. Now, when you combine a couple following the church's teachings with regards to life and contraception with going to Mass every Sunday and praying together, that statistic is a lot higher than 98%. You gotta ask the question, did God know what he was doing when he created man and woman? When he told them to go forth and be fruitful and multiply? When he gave us the laws that govern human nature, that guide us in our ways? Did God know what he was doing? Based on the statistics, that 2%, looks like God knew what he was doing in forming man and woman in that lifelong bond of love and life.